All right, so I'm going to jump on here real quick to give some updates. First, I'll try to get to, I'll definitely get to questions afterwards. But um, the top three things that people ask me on all of my comments are, well, the number one thing that people ask me is, how long am I going to test positive for X, Y, and Z? I've done so many videos answering that question. So obviously see those videos. But the other one is there's an ongoing process of saliva testing for safety sensitive employees, for federally mandated employees that have to be tested. There's kind of updates on that. I got an email the from the federal government that I'm in contact with from time to time with an update, because I am a drug collection site still. And so that's number two, is saliva testing. And then number three is rescheduling, which again, I've done tons of videos on. So let's work in reverse order, but I won't touch on how long people can test positive for, because I've done so many videos on that. And it's so individualized, unless you're talking about, well, if you're talking about anything other than THC. So with federal rescheduling, it kind of looks DOA at this point. Trump is a states' rights guy. So there's a new Health and Human Services now has Kennedy in. They're kind of out of the loop now, but it's kind of up to the DEA if they want to reschedule the hearing to determine if marijuana should be scheduled to Schedule 3. And they're not in any hurry to make that change. And they've got a new head too, who is kind of seemingly against marijuana. So the federal rescheduling process is in a holding pattern, just like everything else always seems to be with the federal government. They're talking about making things more efficient and doing things quicker and with less cost. But up until this point, at least this process has not been like that at all. So I wouldn't expect too much going forward with the rescheduling process. Of course, I will make update videos if that hearing from the DEA gets rescheduled. But right now, again, Trump for the next 4 years has always touted that he's not opposed to marijuana legalization, but he likes it in the state's hands. He likes a lot of stuff in the state's hands. So I don't see how I mean, they missed their window. They were right there, and then they rescheduled that last hearing. If they just went through with that last hearing process, this whole thing would kind of play out. But they missed that window, I think. All right, so not a lot going on with rescheduling, but I'll give you one little update here. It's not a great update with the saliva testing, the Department of Transportation saliva testing. So I just recently came into a couple of different things that give me some more information. One is an update directly from the federal government, who matters the most. And their update is that nothing much has changed, but they did clarify a little bit. So they said that that 11 labs. So what they're waiting on, again, for people that aren't familiar, is that there needs to be 2 laboratories that can do the testing, and then there needs to be a whole bunch of testers, meaning us, people that can do the collection and then send to the laboratories. So they don't have any labs yet, and they don't have enough testers yet. And I'll talk about that here in just a second. So there's 11 laboratories that have expressed interest, and this goes back 2 years now. But they're saying that no lab has formally submitted an application yet to start that process. And once that application is submitted, then that's another 6 months to get that application processed and the lab to be certified. So they told me, and I made an update video about this, I think about 6 months ago now, where they told me that it was going to be in 6 months. And now they're saying that that application process has not even started yet. Or maybe the people maybe the labs pulled their applications from that original email that I got where they said it was going to be another 6 months. I don't know. But right now, it's going to be 6 months from the time of an application, and only 11 laboratories have expressed interest, and none have submitted applications, which makes no sense. I mean, I wish we could get more clarity on why that is, because that is a very weird thing to do, to express interest but not submit an application, and for it to take 2 years just to get to this application process. So maybe, again, Kennedy, I think, just laid off a whole bunch of people at HHS. So I don't know if this is going to help speed up the process at all, but this administration seems to want to get things done and want to get things done expeditiously without as much bureaucracy. So maybe this can be one of the things that we could expedite a little bit. I don't know. All right, so that's the update directly from the government about saliva testing. And then I just coincidentally also got an email from the company that we use to do our continuing education so that we can stay certified to be collectors and all that stuff, do all the physicals that we do. So there's a company we use to do that mandatory testing. I have to go through it every once in a while. And they just sent me an email. Now they are offering a course to get certified, because I wouldn't technically be certified right now to do saliva testing for the Department of Transportation, only for urine testing, because that's the only standard there is. There was no standard, or there still is no standard before this. So they just sent me an email where they're now offering a course where you can become certified. And then I clicked on the course because I'm like, how can I be certified to do something that's doesn't even exist yet? And lo and behold, you click on the, and I'm doing it right now, you click on the email and it brings you to the site. It's going to be a few $100s to take the course, but it's all coming soon. It looks like they just put all this stuff in place, and they're saying the same thing that we already know, is that they can't offer the course, or nobody should be approved to take the course yet, because you might have to retake it all because they don't know exactly what the regulations are going to be, blah, 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 etc. But at least looks like they're preparing to get more people certified, which is, I guess, a good thing. And then thirdly, and this actually just came out too, which is crazy. It just kind of, all this stuff is happening at the same time. So maybe things are starting to happen, although, I can't tell you any more than what the government is saying directly. The federal government, who controls all of this, is Marijuana Moment has an article up right now that came out yesterday. Federal official downplays criticism that saliva-based marijuana testing as a urine alternative would spur use by truckers. So basically, there's arguments. Of course, there's arguments on both sides, but one of the arguments against saliva testing is that for truck drivers, federal saliva testing is that it makes it a lot easier for people to use marijuana and then stop and then take the test later. And then read this article on marijuanamoment.net, but they're just arguing that the window is much shorter, so you can't track it for longer. And then I guess the argument is, well, why would you want to track it for longer if we're trying to see if people are intoxicated on the job? And then in that article, they also go on to say that they're looking into the National Institute of Standards and Technology is planning an event in the summer to have a discussion on a breathalyzer type of device to detect people who are intoxicated on marijuana. Again, that's certainly not a standard yet, and that is in its complete infancy, but that's what it looks like they're trying to move towards, is getting some kind of breathalyzer, because that would really help in like an accident situation. Like you have an accident and the officer that shows up can't have you do a pee test right there on the side of the road. If we had something where we could, like a breathalyzer for alcohol, we could test people right away and know. That's a long way off. I don't know if the technology actually exists. Again, they're just saying that they have something scheduled for summer to do that. So that's all the updates. Not really great updates, because at least that means that for the next 6 months I'm not going to be able to do any saliva testing, which is something that I wanted to do. Again, I don't do any testing in my office anymore because I just don't agree at all with the urinalysis, the urine test as far as drug testing goes. It's a silly test. I've made that statement in almost every video that I make about drug testing. But I was looking forward to doing the saliva test and helping fill that need. But it looks like it's going to be at least another 6 months, and who knows how much longer until these labs get these applications in for whatever reason. So those are the updates. I don't have much more than that. It's just I haven't done one of these in so long that I thought I haven't done a live for so long, and I haven't done a live for so long because I usually do it when I'm on my walk, and it's been cold. So obviously in Ohio here. So let me read through some of these questions. If I got any questions. Integrity Drug Screens Mobile, you are quite welcome. Happy to help. Yep. Well, no questions in here, but I agree with basically all that stuff. Again, these are the main questions that I get on almost every video I post in the comments. I'm just getting those three are the topics. So every once in a while, I like to jump on here and just level set what's actually going on, and not a lot to update here. Of course, I will make new updates, but it doesn't look like I'm going to be making any new updates on those two subjects for a while, unfortunately. But I do have some more. I'm going to have some updates as far as some other updates about home testing and some other ventures that I'm getting into going forward. So there will be more updates. If there are no questions, I'll jump off here. It was good to see everybody. I'm glad everybody was able to jump on. I hope this helps to some degree. Yeah. All right. Good. Take care, everyone. Have a good Wednesday. Have a good Thursday. Had a good Wednesday yesterday. Have a good Thursday. Have a good weekend. And I will be back more frequently with these now that the weather's nicer, because I'll be doing them kind of on my walk. All right. Take care.